Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanissia at The Woolly Worker and this is The Woolly Worker Knitting Podcast channel. But today will be a special episode that I've not done before. It's my very first time doing it, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm doing a knitting vlog, or what I knit in a week. You can find me on Ravelry or Instagram at The Woolly Worker, same as here on YouTube. And yeah, thank you so much for all the support you've been giving to my videos so far. It's still very enjoyable to do. So I've recorded myself over the last 7 days trying to document the progress on the projects that I was working on. So I'll just quickly here show you where I was at a week ago, and then I'll catch you all at the end of the video and update on the progress. I took a couple shots of the projects before and after, so we can do a comparison at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. So I'll put that on screen right now, what I was planning to do. Firstly, I was planning to do some work on my Eggs for Easter socks. I had made an entire sock and it was blocked, and I was supposed to be making a second one, so stay tuned if you want to see the progress on that. Then I also wanted to keep working on my single malt sweater by Maxim Sir. I've talked about this a little bit in the podcast episode. That is the latest one on the channel if you want to check that out. It's just continuing on the sleeves and the body. There's not much to say. All the yoke is done. And then I was also wanting to get some progress on the Burra cowl by Mary Wallen. I was having so much fun with this project. I had done a lot of work at the weekend before, not so much in the week, so I thought I could try and work on it on the weekend again. And then lastly, I started a new project, the April cardigan, and I have not talked about that in the podcast episode because it happened so fast, but progress is really fast. I think I started this on Monday and then I started filming on Friday, so that was about 4 or 5 days of work. So yeah, follow me along as I get through the week. There were a couple of events and things that I did, so I documented those as well if you wanted to see a bit more behind the scenes stuff and footage. But if you're here for the knitting, then there will be plenty of that. So I'll see you all later. So my day started as usual. I am a morning person, so I usually wake up quite early, and it's been really nice recently in the spring to be able to see daylight when I wake up as opposed to waking up in complete darkness. And as always, I like to observe my nice view from the window, see the birds, see the lake, and just take it all in before I start my day. Because I wake up early and get up early, I'm able to do some knitting in the morning before work. So this is what you can see me do right there. I'm in my pajamas and I decided to work a little bit on that project. This is the first day, and these are the projects I currently have on my needles, my 4 active whips. So you can see here there's the single malt that I've been talking about in the previous podcast episode, which has almost 1 complete sleeve done. Then there's the chicken sock from the Charming Color workbook, the Burra cowl that I also talked about, and then the April cardigan, which is a new cast on, which I'm really excited because it's working out pretty fast. So those are the things that I'll be working on this week, and hopefully maybe finish one if we can see that happen. I am quite eager to work on the garments, but I know that I should make some progress on the second sock of the pair and to get some work on the Burra cowl. Like a minimum amount of rounds every day or every week could be quite productive. So here I am just knitting away. I'm at my usual spot on my chair at my desk. I work from home, so this is my home office. There's a big bed behind me, that's our spare bed, and this usually carries a lot of yarn in easy reach. So here I'm doing the sleeve of my April cardigan, and I'm doing it on magic loop because I reached a point where it wasn't possible to be doing it on the short circulars. It's plain stockinette, DK weight. It's just really comforting and safe, you know, just an easy project. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying this ritual I have in the morning of trying to get a couple of hours or an hour of knitting done, and then I start the day. Then later on at my lunch break, I had my boyfriend try on the single malt, and he said that it was a good length, so I was able to bind it off. It's been really helpful having him around for every step to determine whether something is fitting or too short or too long. So he was happy with the cuff, and here I was struggling to know what bind off to use for a 2x1 rib, and I saw a video by Hive Knits Lizzie, who said that she used a video from Easy as Knits, and I think it's also called the Rook method, the Rook bind off. Basically you thread your needle through the first 3 stitches purlwise, and you slip the rightmost one off the needle, and then you start that over and over. So it's a really easy repetition. It doesn't really take into account the fact that it's knits or purls, so that was quite fast to do. Even though you can see me sometimes struggle a little bit to get my needle in, that's fine. So I'll put a link of that video below if you're interested. And then here's what it looks like once it's finished. So I'm not like a huge fan of this so far. It seems really wide compared to the cuff that is pulling in, but we'll see what it looks like when it blocks out, hopefully. So I kept on knitting throughout the day, and after work I went to meet with my friend Sam from the Shugly Stitch. She lives really close by, and we decided to meet at the pub for a bit of knit and chat. We've been doing that every couple of weeks, either in coffee shops or there, and it's been really enjoyable. It's so nice to be able to do this hobby more socially. I was saying that that was one of my goals this year, and it feels great to have something in common with someone that we can just chat away for ages. So here what I was doing was working on the ribbing of my April cardigan sleeve, and I didn't get much done because I'm actually horrible at multitasking and knitting while I am chatting or trying to stay composed in a public space. It was a bit awkward towards the end. The pub was getting quite busy for a Friday night, and there were some very loud people, the horse races were on, and it really felt out of place to be knitting, but it's good to go out of the comfort zone, and Sam didn't seem too bothered, so I tried to take her example and to just do me. But yeah, I was trying to finish the ribbing of my April cardigan. I didn't manage to do that in the pub, but when I came back home that night, I was then able to do the ribbing and bind it off with the classic Italian bind off. Tried it on, and I'm absolutely in love with that sleeve. It really motivated me to make a second April cardigan, and I've already started to look at yarns. But yeah, so basically the results of the Friday knitting is that I bound off those 2 sleeves, one from the single malt and one from the April cardigan. This weekend I think I'm going to try and get some work done on the cowl, maybe cast on the sock, because I know that as long as I don't cast it on, it's unlikely that I'll be motivated. So I just need to cast it on regardless of motivation, and then it'll just be there for me to knit away, hopefully. On Saturday, I decided that I had a lot of chores to do, so I reorganized a lot of my drawers. And I found quite a lot of acrylic yarn and half-finished projects that I gave up when I was crocheting, and my partner and I decided that this would be a cute little project to do for Mother's Day. So I had this cup that I had started ages ago. I just needed to finish it and stuff it. So here you can see me kind of gathering my materials and crocheting away. The pattern is free, I'll link it below, and it's just a cute little amigurumi. I think I made the cup in worsted weight, but I made the T in DK, which meant I had to make it a bit larger, but it all worked out in the end. It was really fast to do. My partner was quite impressed when we got the idea in the morning, and it was done by lunch. So here's the cute little eyes and cheeks. I'm not too disappointed with the embroidery of the face. Usually it's my least favorite part. It's always hard making it symmetrical, but I think I did a pretty good job at making it look adorable. And it looked pretty shapeless up until the very last minute when I stuffed it. And then I added a little tea bag. So this was completely unexpected and not at all something I had planned to do this week, but it took a couple of hours of the morning, and once it was done I could focus on the knitting. So yeah, Ross's mum is really happy about her new little cup of tea. So here I'm working on my Bura cowl. Last time I was able to do one whole repeat of the pattern in the weekend, over the weekend. So that's kind of what I had given myself the goal of doing this weekend, was to do another repeat, which I think is achievable. There's not that many stitches in the round. So here's a clip of me knitting Fair Isle, but it is sped up, I must admit. Then we decided to make a cake for Mother's Day, and we decided on a chocolate cake recipe that is from my aunt from Belgium. It was delicious and it was a really fun way to spend our Saturday. And after all of that, I sat down on the couch and was able to get some work done on the body of my single malt. Usually I have more time to knit on the weekends, but this was a pretty task-heavy weekend, so I didn't do as much as I wish I did, but you know, life is life. When you're an adult, you have responsibilities, and yeah, it's still enjoyable to snuggle up on the couch watching TV and knitting. I was getting a bit of choice paralysis lately, where I didn't know what projects to dedicate my knitting time to, because I kind of want them all to have progress and I want to finish them all, but I decided that the good strategy would be to just pick one, because at this point I think they all pretty much bring the same amount of joy, so it doesn't matter which one I work on first. And then on Sunday I tried to plug some time again on the Bura cowl. I feel like it's easier to just get in the zone with hours on end ahead of me to try and do all that color work, and I'm just using my computer screen to read the PDF pattern that Mary Wallen kindly sent over. I just realized that I made a mistake in the row below. So currently faced with the decision of whether I should unpick like all the stitches for one round, or should I just try and fudge it and like could I just live with the mistake. But I think I'm gonna go and fix it, otherwise it's going to annoy me, and I didn't make any mistakes so far, so it would be annoying to keep one in this beautiful pattern. So yeah, I'm gonna undo the row, which will be annoying, and I'll come back. Yay! I find it really addictive to try and reach the next color combo in this cowl, and I was really eager to try and finish the second repeat of the pattern by the end of the weekend, because I knew I wouldn't work on it as much during the week. And then during the day I mostly just relaxed, knitted a little bit, slept, and we had date night plans, so here I am knitting on the single malt a little bit just before we headed out for a night out in Edinburgh. I'm watching some of my favorite podcasts while knitting. A lot of people release them over the weekend, so there's lots of materials ready to go. I was able to get some really good progress on the body of my single malt, and I'll show you the progress on my knits just after the weekend is over. So here we are, heading out for date night. I thought I'd show you a few clips of our beautiful, beautiful city in case you want to see more of what Scotland is like. That was in the old town, the Royal Mile. We headed out for drinks and dinner and then a pub quiz. It was really great fun. It was a great night and I'm glad that we did that. It's nice sometimes staying in over the weekend, but other times you like to get a bit of activities. And funnily enough, at the pub that night, there was a girl who brought some crochet, so I gathered my strength and I was able to strike up a conversation, and we talked a little bit about what she was doing. She was making coasters. And here I thought I'd include a clip of a squirrel that we saw on our way to the restaurant. He was not skittish at all. We were able to get super close, as you can see, and he was just munching away on an abandoned McFlurry. I just thought it was too adorable not to share it. So over the weekend, here's what I was able to do. As you can see, the stitch marker here on the side. I didn't do that much on the sweater, but that's because I dedicated more time on the cowl. As you can see, I've almost done an entire full repeat. I was just 10 rows short, but I got those done on Monday morning. So yeah, overall it was a good weekend. Monday was pretty uneventful. I was just working most of the day, and then after work I snuggled up on the couch with my partner and a cover and my knitting. It's one of my favorite parts of the day, as a lot of you can probably relate. It's just nice to chill in each other's company while still being able to practice my hobby. And it's crazy the amount of knitting that can get done when you're watching a show. Here we're watching How to Get Away with Murder. It's kind of bad, but in a good way. Like, it makes us laugh a lot. We're not taking it too seriously. And just trying to get some work done. Here you can see I dropped a stitch, but I picked it back up. No worries. And this is pretty much what the rest of the week is looking like for me. And then just before bed I was able to pick up the sleeves on the April cardigan. I was just doing that to set myself up for tomorrow so that I could just knit away without having to look at any pattern or anything, because I know the decrease rates. On Tuesday it was a pretty uneventful day as well, except that at night I had my virtual knit night that's organized by Madeline and Sophie. I'll put their socials below. They have really nice Instagrams. And yeah, it was just really fun. I was wearing my loom sweater. We were all chatting away. extremely sorry for the mess that is my desk. I didn't really realize how the angle of this shot was going to be, and I'm seeing how exposed I am, but that's life, I guess. This is just the good, the bad, and the ugly of my week of knitting. And yeah, over the course of the call, I was able to get some really good progress done on my April cardigan sleeve, and then I was able to bind it off the next day. So I'll show you that progress. It was over 2 hours long and it was good fun. I'm always looking forward to it. I am on my lunch break and I'm trying to finish this April cardigan sleeve. I'm at the ribbing and I just had the realization that I didn't take good notes and I didn't calculate how many rounds of ribbing I did on this sleeve. Obviously I can sort of read the ribbing, the knit stitches. I could get an approximation because I did the Italian bind off, which looks great by the way, if I do say so myself. Because of that I don't know if it's right. I think I did 17 rounds, but it could be 18. I'm annoyed at myself because that's what happens when you do so many projects at once. You really should take notes when you're reaching milestones or stopping in the middle of your knitting. So I'll obviously do it for like 16 stitches and then I'll go on my best estimation, then start to do the double knitting setup rounds for Italian bind off, do the Italian bind off, then I'll compare after like 5 or 10 stitches to see if it matches that sleeve. And if it doesn't, I'll unpick the Italian bind off carefully and knit up one more round, I guess, and start over until I reach a perfect match. So yeah, take better notes, people. It will save you headaches. Okay, so I've reached my 17 rounds of rib, and this time I actually decided to thread a spare scrap piece of yarn as a lifeline before I do my bind off, because then it'll just be easier to pick everything off. So I'm gonna do my 2 setup rounds and then start the Italian bind off, and hopefully it will match the other sleeve. Wish me luck. Okay, so I have bound off a few stitches and I've compared them, and to be honest I think that there's one too many rows on this one now. I did 17 and maybe it was 16 after all, but it's actually so hard to tell that they look so similar. I'm just going to go ahead and continue binding off. I'll take this lifeline out. I cannot be bothered removing it, and I'm sure I'll forget about this hypothetical inconsistency. And when I block the sweater and the sleeves anyway, I'll make sure that the ribbing is the same length in centimeters, and then it won't matter. So yeah, that was a little saga of the day. Really happy to have finished the body of the single malt and about to start the rib, but as always I need to get it on my boyfriend first to try for fit. Then Thursday I went for a nice lunchtime walk, said hi to the goose and the swans, and then I tried on my April cardigan for a quick fit check. I really love the saddle shoulder and the length and tapering of the sleeves. I cannot wait to finish this cardigan and especially add the button bands. Then I decided to wind up some yarn. I was planning to maybe get started on my Cargill sweater, which I ended up actually changing my mind about, so that didn't happen. But here's a quick aesthetic shot of the Swift in action. I highly recommend people getting themselves a Swift and winder. Absolutely best purchase, yarn related. And here's my little cake. So here's what I changed my mind to. I'm so excited about this swatch. It's turning out really great. I was a bit worried at first because the 2 yarns look quite different. They're not the same shade, obviously, but once they're knitted up, they marl and mix and blend really well. It's like magic. So I can't wait to see this in daylight. think it's going to be so great. This is for the Dartmoor sweater, by the way. So just shoved it in water, stepped on it while it was in a towel. That's usually how I block my knits. And then laid it flat to dry. It dried overnight basically because I squeezed as much water out as possible with the towel. So I was able to measure gauge in the morning. And just before we go to bed, can we appreciate the yarn chicken on this bind off? Okay, so here we are. Thank you for sticking around. If you're still watching, welcome back. I hope that you enjoyed seeing what I got up to during the last 7 days. I'll now put a comparison on the screen of the project. So as you can probably tell, I did not do any work whatsoever on the extra Easter socks. She is still a lonely lady with no partner. I didn't really want to force myself to work on it if it wasn't bringing joy, so I was just focusing on the projects that were. And then for the single malt, as you can see, there is a lot of progress on that. I was able to bind off the sleeve and bind off the body after doing the body. There was a lot of like pattern knitting, but it is really addictive. It's not as hard working as I thought it would be. Like, you know, stockinette is really easy, and however this one is like a 4-round repeat, but it was really fast. So I just need to do the sleeve now, and I'm sure it'll be over really soon. And then here, the Burra cowl, I'm really happy to say that I've done 1 more repeat, so that's quite a lot of progress. Like I said, there's either 3 or 4 repeats, so I could be 2/3 of the way done or halfway done. We'll see. I think I'm gonna work on that at the weekend and maybe do 1 repeat, because apparently I can do 1 repeat in 2 days. And then lastly, the April cardigan, I was able to bind off the sleeve, do an entire sleeve, and then keep and do some work on the body. It doesn't look like much now on the body, but it's going to be quite fast because there's quite a lot of ribbing to do, and it's a cropped cardigan. So even though I didn't really finish anything this week, I still feel like I was able to get a lot of work done on the 2 garments that I'm doing, while also still doing some work in the background for the Burra cowl, which is like just knitting up behind my back. And I was able to also do a little spontaneous crochet cup, which is nice. I don't have it with me anymore, but you saw it in the videos. And then lastly, I made a swatch for my next sweater, which is the Dartmoor sweater. So that's a little preview that I will talk about when I film the next podcast, but you get this live. I'm really excited about it. I think it's a really great like color. It's not exactly black, but like it's gonna be really dark, and I think it's gonna be like the perfect comfy chunky sweater. And it's mohair free, so I'm sure I can just throw that on. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. I know it's not one of the most aesthetically pleasing ones or like relaxing to watch. I found it tricky while I was editing to know how to edit those and make them nice. There's lots of different styles. There's ones where you talk a lot throughout the week. There's ones where you just do a voiceover, kind of like I did here. But if you want to help me out and let me know what kind of vlogs or what I knit in a week type videos you like, if there's anything that you want to keep from what I've done or anything that you change to make it like more enjoyable for you to watch, please let me know. I'm super open to suggestions and constructive criticism. It was quite a lot of work to remember to film and to think about how to structure this, so I don't know if I'm going to be making one of these anytime soon, but I'm not completely crossing out the idea because it's really nice to be doing that video side by side of like before and after. But thank you so much for sticking around and for watching this video. I hope that you got some knitting done while you were watching, if that was what you were doing, and I can't wait to film the next podcast episode, and I'll see you all there. Until then, happy knitting and take care. Bye!